Hey.
Hey.
This is Jonathan Harmon with J Harmon Home Team, powered by Keller Williams with my buddy Brian Smith of Cinematicfocus. And back behind the scenes here is our friend Josh. Hey, Josh. And I'm not being rude. I'm going to check my phone real quick and watch the feed as well, just to make sure. Oh, look at that. We're live now. Hey. This is Jonathan Harmon with J Harmon Home Team. We'll turn that volume down.
There we go.
There we go. Beautiful. So anyway, Brian and I have been buddies now for a couple years. Met through a mutual friend, Ricky Land.
Yep.
So Ricky and Jennifer, shout out to Ricky and Jennifer. Love those guys. And just kind of hit it off, got to know each other, have some similar interests, and helped you sell a house in Laverne. It's been 3 years now?
Yeah, probably, 2. I guess it'll be 2 and... No, it'd be 3,
It'll be
right?
3,
yeah, in March.
And
is that right?
I think that's right.
Maybe
I'm
just
almost
2.
certain that's right.
I don't know. It's been crazy.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And in that length of time, you guys had already purchased some land out here with your mom.
That we got from you too.
Yep. And you guys have kind of like this little compound thing going on out here.
We try to call it a homestead.
Homestead?
Yeah, because compound,
Bad connotation,
yeah,
right?
there's no bunker out here. So yet. Or that I would say on Facebook anyways.
Right.
No bunker.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you'd have to have some kind of special use permit for that, right? And y'all know all about that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, code building out here on 14 acres where nothing has ever been before except for cows.
Yeah.
It was quite an ordeal.
It was.
But we're out here now and love it.
Yeah,
so.
You have a beautiful home. It's beautiful out here. It's quiet and nice, but yet close to everything. So anyway, what we really want to talk about is what you do, why you do what you do, how you do what you do, why you're excellent at what you do, and maybe tell some stories and that kind of thing. So first of all, I took a picture and posted it on my personal Facebook page of this setup. And, I was telling you that when I normally do these, I have my iPhone and a couple other little things and, a little clip-on lens and some lapel mics, and that's it. That's the extent of my setup.
Which is probably more than most Facebook live streams have. So you're already like a tier up.
Yeah, but this is like 25 levels above. Like
it may be.
Y'all might
maybe. So yeah, I mean this would still be a small setup for us in some in some cases, but larger than some cases. I mean it's all relative and.
Sure.
This is just 4 cameras and some lights and some mics.
Some mics and like 25 cables and a mixer and another dude running the show back behind the scenes and like he's got headphones on and everything. That makes him legit, right? Yeah. Well, yeah. If you got microphones involved, you need headphones on. It's a principle. It's awesome. But so tell me a little bit about your history, how you got to this kind of setup, and like what do you do? What does Cinematicfocus do?
Right. So we're a video production company. Josh and I met at the local Fox 17 station here in town. We both worked for the morning show there back when it was like Charlie Chase and Kelly Sutton every morning. They went through a lot of different iterations, but Josh and I met there, started doing freelance jobs together, and realized that we had, we worked well together, and we started Cinematicfocus mainly as a way to buy gear together. So we were shooting a lot of weddings and had a few corporate clients that we were doing on the side outside of Fox. And we mainly just started a company so that there'd be a place for the money to go, and then we would buy equipment with it, And we like he would buy one camera and I'd buy another camera, and we just started our company that way. Like I said, really just as a way to buy gear.
Yeah.
And a year into it, we had a ton of gear, and we had a lot of clients, and our lives were extremely hectic trying to balance a job at Fox and to do this thing that we had started.
Kind of accidentally started.
Right, yeah. It's funny, people ask us about the name all the time, but I mean we just kind of came up with it in one day and was like, yeah, that's fine. And we asked a few people what they thought about it, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. And so we, Cinematicfocus was born just kind of as an afterthought.
Logo is as simple as can be.
Yeah, it's just a camera aperture, and
right.
Yeah, it's just, simple stuff. And then after a year of doing it, we had a lot of equipment and had a lot of clients. And then after about another year, we thought, man, we need to do this. We need to, have an exit strategy from Fox and figure out how to do this full time. We saved up about 3 months of what, we decided what we wanted our salaries to be, and we saved up 3 months of that for each of us. And once the money was in the bank, we turned in our notice, and the rest is history. That was in 2011, I think. 12. Yeah, he's looking at me. 2012. So,
get it right, would you?
Yeah, I'm terrible with dates. But yeah, so 2012 we left
That's
Fox,
awesome.
and that was many years ago now, and we grow every year. We have added 2 employees this year, and we have a ton of freelancers that we hire all the time. So it's a fun. Nashville and Middle Tennessee in general, the production environment here is really cool. We're like a small family. Everybody knows each other, and so people that we'd met while we were working at Fox, and just working.
So what is your ideal client? Like,
that's a good
somebody
question.
watching this right now, and they say, "Oh, I could use them." What
Right.
would they be thinking about?
Yeah, so in the end, videos are just about telling stories, So if a business has a story they want to tell, if a nonprofit has a story they want to tell, just a person, we got to start shooting weddings. That's just a story, That's so
you're
really
documenting the
yeah,
story.
and everything we do is very documentary style, anyways. That's kind of how that's how we started shooting weddings. Early on, we got a lot of business from Vanderbilt, shooting little mini documentaries for them. That was one of our big clients when we started. So telling stories is that's our ideal client. Somebody that has a story to tell, and they understand a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that's what their video is going to look like. So if you have a story to tell, then you would be our ideal client.
Right on. And is there a job that's too small that you'd refer out, or?
I'm sure there is, but we can scale down to pretty small. We send out one camera guy and let him tell that story. Like one camera, shoot for half a day, and then put together something real fast. So absolutely, we can do small stuff. If you have a quick story to tell, I guess. We do small stuff. Yeah, small budget stuff for sure. We do that all the time. But we also scale up. We have clients include we won an Emmy for a documentary that was
You won an Emmy?
Yeah.
I didn't know. How did I not know that?
I don't know, man.
Like, do you have it? Do you have the
Yeah.
statue and everything?
I don't.
That should
not
be
here.
sitting here, dude.
Instead, we have the flying pig.
I do like the flying pig, especially under glass. You got to
Mm-hmm.
keep it contained so it doesn't fly away, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
No, yeah, we won an Emmy for editing a documentary. You can go to our website and check that out. But
That's awesome.
yeah, and that was a big budget documentary.
Sure.
Alfre Woodard narrated it. So that's a big budget thing. But we also do really small stuff too. We the thing we do the most is shoot interviews. We shoot hundreds and hundreds of interviews a year. So we shoot interviews from anywhere between like I guess think about like a dentist, and you shoot like a client testimonial. You got the dentist, you got a client. They talk about their story together, and then we edit together a little video about that, and then now that
Post it on social
yeah,
media or
now that
whatever.
dentist has a an actual client testimony, people can kind of learn about their business. We shoot little stuff like that, and we also shoot interviews with Carrie Underwood and Garth Brooks and household names, Nashville celebrities. Clients include like CMA, CMT.
What's the difference?
CMA and CMT. CMA is Country Music Association.
CMT is the television station.
Yeah, it's a television station. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
And y'all did. You were telling me. Did I understand this correctly? You did like live streaming and stuff for one of the award shows.
Yeah. So the CMA Award Show. We do a lot with that every year. We live capture as it's happening. We kind of record that into a computer and do some quick editing, and then they put that out on their social media. So like if you follow CMA, and you're watching and you're following along while you're watching the show. Like if you see CMA post a little clip of, we do stuff like that. That's a really kind of a neat system where you are recording the show as it happens, and recording and then editing together little clips from that show while the show is still going on. So it's extremely fast turnaround.
So it's like a highlight. What do they call it? Tweet. What do they call that? Not tweet casting.
Yeah.
Live tweeting.
Live tweeting. Yeah, kind of. They do some of that too, but they're posting content while the content is happening, and we help them with that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what's your background then, as far as before Fox? Or you're an MTSU grad, is that right?
Not a grad.
No.
No.
Okay, so an MTSU attendee.
Attendee.
I got
That's
you.
right. So I went to MTSU on a guitar scholarship in 1995. Moved here from Bowling Green, Kentucky, and
Bowling Green. We stole you from
Western.
Yeah. Hallelujah. Good choice, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I needed to get out of town, I suppose, and.
Well, they got a gumdrop for a mascot, for Pete's sake.
That's like that's like one of the most recognizable mascots in the world, though. That's what they always.
Nobody would have a gumdrop except Western freaking Kentucky.
It's funny. This is a complete side note, but so I grew up. I went to Bowling Green High School. Graduated from Bowling Green High School. Their mascot is a spirit, and it looks very similar to. It's different shape, but it's still just kind of a glob. A blob. Yeah. Yeah.
They have no creativity in Bowling Green?
No.
Is that why you had to get out?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I would hate to say that. I've got friends in Bowling Green.
I'm a big MTSU fan, so, 100 miles of hate, they don't call it that for no reason. Did you know that?
No.
The road between Murfreesboro and Bowling Green is
No. Is it really that big of a rivalry?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Western and MTSU is the biggest, I would say that's the biggest rivalry for MTSU.
Huh. Okay. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's ugly. It used to be North Texas at one point. And,
okay.
There's Troy. We didn't get along real well with them either. Bless their hearts. But now it's definitely Western.
Well, I was in. I didn't stay at MTSU that long. I was only there for about 2 years.
Gotcha.
And I was. My background's in music. Obviously, I was a guitar major for just a very short time. I thought I moved to Nashville thinking I wanted to be a session player, and I got here. I did some sessions. I just didn't like it like I thought I would. But I always had a love for the kind of the behind the scenes part of music production, tech, and mixing, and all that kind of stuff. And in about 2000, I came across this kind of niche of music production where I would mix live concerts, but on the air. So I got a job at Lightning 100. And back then they had 4 live broadcasts a week.
Wow.
They still do a lot of that kind of stuff, but Nashville Sunday Night is a thing that's still going on today, and I actually still mix that show for them as a freelancer. But so it's a live show from a club from 3rd and Lindsley, and the band's playing there, and I'm running a soundboard that's
being broadcast.
That's being broadcast.
Right.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah. Right then.
Oh wow.
So I started doing that back in like 2000. And I had some experience of running sound since I was a little kid, so it fit. Like I said, they were doing 4 shows like that then. And then over time, I started doing other stuff. Eventually went on to Fox, like I said, where I mixed all the musical guests that was on the morning show. So all the musical guests that would come in, we had a musical guest every day, so 5 days a week. I'm mixing the broadcast mix for that artist that day. Kept my Sunday night job for Lightning 100, and then that's my background. I started fooling around with video in like 2003 because I was also part-time at a church as their production director, and they needed video help. And so I just kind of started playing with video editing because I'd always done like music post editing. And it's very similar, it's still timeline based, and you're just kind of tweaking it till it's the way you want it to be. So I started video editing in like 2003, just kind of on my own, just figuring stuff out on my own. And by the time we started our company in 2008, 2009 or so, I mean, I'd been video editing for 5 or 6 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. So kind of the way it breaks down with me and my business partner, I handle more of the editing and he handles more of the shooting. So
what would separate you guys? I mean, there's with DSLR cameras and various applications. We were kind of talking about some different apps that you can buy even on your phone. Where you can set up multi-camera stuff. What would separate you guys from? And I guess this is kind of back to that ideal client, right? There's a lot of photographers out there. They'll go and take pictures of weddings and whatnot.
Sure.
And some of them will have some setup where they can do some videography work at a wedding. What would separate you guys from even that professional photographer that can also do video? Right. And then the next step down, I guess, if you want to look at it that way, a fairly talented, do we use the term shade tree? Like you would a mechanic, like novice hobbyist.
Right. So that's a great question because there's a ton of photographers that dabble in video.
Sure.
That's very common because these cameras are still cameras, and actually, I should go back and say that's really kind of what started me and Josh wanting to do this was when DSLRs became able to shoot video. That was a big deal to us. Yeah. We'd always just kind of messed with video cameras, and there was a huge divide between very expensive video cameras and kind of amateur or prosumers, what a lot of people call it, cameras back then. Yeah. But then when DSLRs came out, for not that much money, for kind of prosumer prices, you could get a extremely professional look and feel to it. And that's what really got us excited, and it changed the whole industry.
Sure.
Like you said, DSLRs being able to shoot video was a huge disruption in the industry, and for the better. So one thing that separates us from a photographer that shoots video. So photographers are used to smaller files. They don't deal with audio. So our background is in audio and video production, whereas a photographer's background is in making things look really pretty. And that's great. You need that background with video. But what they would be missing would be, how do you handle hours and hours and hours of video footage, like in post, in editing. How do you handle all that? It's a lot to keep up with, versus a few thousand pictures. A photographer may take a few thousand pictures at a wedding, that fits on one card. When we leave, we don't shoot that many weddings anymore, but we leave a shoot sometimes with 10 cards full of video. It might be
that's a lot.
It might be 800 or 900 gigs worth of video, and we do that all the time. So it's a lot of data management. It's a lot of learning how to be able to handle all that stuff and keep it safe for your clients. We hear a lot of unfortunate stories about people losing
the middle
whatever inevitably you always lose the most important part, right? So we're really good about keeping stuff safe like that. The other big thing is audio. Most still photographers don't know that much about audio. My whole background is in audio. That's where I came from. So
and that really makes the video
right. We tell people all the time, with cell phones now, cell phones look great. But if you shoot a video with a cell phone, you've already figured this out. You need good microphones to go with it.
You need something.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there's a tiny little microphone, and especially if there's any kind of background noise.
Right.
And that's, a lot of times I do these in coffee shops. And, I mean, you hear everything except, and especially, I talk really loud. And you talk decently loud. But a lot of people don't.
Right.
And, if they're talking at a volume like this.
Yeah. So understanding audio is a big deal. I tell people all the time, we could shoot your video with iPhones as long as we got the audio right.
Right.
We use these cameras because we prefer them and they look great. But usually a professionally done video has more to do with the audio than it does the video, in my opinion.
And really, the magic happens in the post shooting, right? I mean,
sure. I mean, you got to get it right on the shoot, but yeah, then you bring it in post and you kind of begin to fix everything. We fix it in post.
And I see that in photography as well. Rabia does all of my photo shoots, and he does the Steadicam video shoot through there, and then it just overlays it. Doesn't put any audio to that, but all the magic really happens. I mean, he'll shoot for almost 30 minutes on a video and make it a 2-minute video out of it.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you're picking what the clips that matter and discarding the ones that don't. And that's really what the magic is. All video editing is just lifting the important stuff and then laying that in a sequence.
It's your story.
That's your story. Yep.
Yep.
And it's the same way with when you're shooting a house like that. I mean, it is a story. That's essentially a story. It's the do you start with the big wide shot of the house to begin with, or do you reveal that later, or how do you choose to tell that story?
Yeah, I like that. That's a good way to look at it. So a couple other things. Just wanted to kind of give you some kudos. You did some work for me a few years ago. I'm sure you remember that. When a good buddy of mine passed away, and you sent a guy out to kind of get the story.
Yeah, get the story. From, I mean that's important work. I mean, I don't know if you want to share what that was all about, but you had a friend, pass away. And we captured stories of his friends telling stories so that his kids would have
at least some stories.
Yeah, some stories that they could go back and watch. And I mean, that's important. Telling stories is important.
It is.
I mean,
and you think about it. I mean, that's what all history is. That's what how you capture it and how true and accurate that is matters.
Authenticity is one of our biggest principles. So editing is a it's biased. You can't because you're deciding what to put in there and what not to put in there.
Right.
But we try to be as authentic back to the original intent as possible. Okay, so that's an important thing to us. When we'll go shoot an interview with somebody, we'll shoot like a 40-minute interview, and then we're expected to shrink that down into like a 2-minute video.
So what do you cut? What do you actually leave in that case?
Right. What do you leave in? What do you leave out? Well, we want to be a guiding principle is for it to be authentic. We want to boil down what he was trying to say in that 30 minutes, boil that down in an authentic way into a 2-minute video.
And that's the artistry of it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've never really thought about it, but I mean, you guys are essentially high-tech storytellers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? All we need is a campfire.
Right.
Not in your new house, though.
Well, out there.
Okay.
in my screened-in porch with the fireplace.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Hey, Jennifer Land's watching. Hey. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer, we wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for Jennifer.
She's one of my favorite people. She's always been one of my favorite people. Her and Ricky and the boys.
Yeah.
So, all right. So a couple quick questions. Tell me a couple of stories. The coolest interview you've ever captured.
Oh my gosh, put me on the spot.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. I'm looking at my business partner, wondering what
Josh,
he would say.
You can tell too.
I would say Carrie Underwood the day after she came back to work after.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. So Carrie Underwood, we shot a video with her. We shot the last interview with her before she kind of went on leave for her first pregnancy. That was a video for BMI that was honoring Vince Gill at their at the BMI Awards, BMI Country Awards. They kind of made him a BMI icon, and Carrie was talking about that. Talking about her interaction with Vince. So we shot that interview, and then that was apparently the last video she shot before she went and had her first child. And then we shot the first interview back with her as well, and that was for she did a clothing line for it was called Kalea. I don't know. I don't
know much about women's clothing.
I mean, it's funny what you learn in video production. You could become an expert on some really bizarre stuff.
You're great at trivia night, aren't you?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, if I've done a video about it, then I probably know. But anyways, we did a video shoot with her when she came back from that. So that was kind of neat to kind of bookend that chapter in her life. We've shot Carrie a bunch because we do stuff with CMA, and she's awesome.
Is she as awesome as she comes across?
Yeah, she is. She's a wonderful person. She's kind, and
it seems that way.
Yeah,
and sometimes that's an act,
It is. So here's what I say all the time about basically
not that you would spill the beans if she was not.
I would like politely, not say that,
No comment.
I don't know what I'd say, but anyway, I don't have to say that about Carrie because she's awesome. But in Nashville, you're expected to act that way, even if you're not. And sometimes you can tell, like, this person is putting on an act, like, but at least they are acting nice.
Right.
They're supposed to act, down to earth and humble. They're supposed to act that way because it's Nashville. So even if they're not, they still.
And you do a lot in Chicago, so the gloves come off in Chicago.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Chicago people are completely different, and really, the real eye-opening thing is when somebody comes in from LA, because they're almost expected to act like a diva, even if they're not.
Interesting.
Like they're supposed to have this kind of air about them that they're real important, even if they don't really feel that way about themselves. And they'll have like all these people around them that are acting that way. I'm not going to mention any names, but it's always, you can tell when somebody's kind of been in LA for a long time. Like maybe they were a Nashville person and then they moved out to LA for a little while, and then they come back and all of a sudden they've got like 30 people following them around all the time that are like yelling at everybody to get out of the way and do this and do that. And you're like, this is Nashville. We don't act like that here.
Right. Go get some pancakes at Pancake Pantry.
Right.
Yeah.
But
stand in line like everybody else.
Right. But in Nashville, everybody's expected to be down to earth.
Yeah.
And so
that's nice. That's why people there's kind of this thing where people are moving from California to here.
Absolutely.
From various places. Because it is refreshing. It is. This is way off of topic, but you have exposure to different folks.
Yeah.
Is it just that,
Yeah,
people can relax here.
People can relax here, and people like it. I think a lot of people feel that Nashville has its own kind of character, and people like that character of Nashville. Like I said, whether it's an act or not, it's still, you get to experience it. You still get to kind of live in this world where everyone is at least trying to behave themselves.
Well, because not everybody's nice. If you get on I-24, you learn real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not that there's no mean people in Nashville, but there's this kind of Southern bless your heart kind of
I really don't like you, but I'm gonna smile at you.
Yeah, exactly. We still tend to act like we should, even if we're kind of gritting our teeth about it.
Right. Yeah. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Carrie was your favorite. What do you remember where everything went wrong?
Oh yeah, I have a couple of those. I will say we like Carrie. We like interviewing Carrie, but there's also been some incredibly meaningful shoots we've done. Just since now that I've had like a second to think about it. We did a couple of videos with a guy that owns a company called Bullhorn Media. Bullhorn Media, yep. Chris Raines. What's up?
Not Chris Gaines, because that was Garth Brooks.
That was Garth Brooks. Yeah. I'm getting a phone call. I'll just turn that off. But anyways, so Chris had this client with Show Hope Ministries. I don't know if you're familiar with Show Hope. Stephen Curtis Chapman started Show Hope, and they help families adopt kids.
Oh, okay.
And so we would go, and they would send out, so people donate to Show Hope so that other people can adopt children. And it's an amazing organization. And we would go do these videos with people that had their kids home for like a year, as kind of an update back to the donors of like, this is where your money's going. And those are probably my favorite interviews we've done. We've done a lot of ministry videos, but those, you just leave emotionally wrecked, but happy too, because...
here's how bad it was, and now look at where it is.
Yeah, and we do a little B-roll shoot with the family, and we interview the family, and those are some of my favorites because they're extremely emotional, but fantastic stories.
Yeah,
fantastic happy stories, endings. Very happy endings.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. All
right, so tell me one that went totally haywire.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't want you to tell like bad stuff about yourselves, but I mean stuff goes wrong, right? So
I have a lot. Listen. I have no shame. I'll tell.
Josh
all
is
my
cracking
bad.
up, so there's something that's come to his mind.
I know.
Apparently.
So I'll tell one, and then maybe Josh can remind me of another one that I should tell. So we do work for like Mars Chocolate. Now it's Mars Wrigley Confectionery, Mars and Wrigley, people that make Skittles and Starburst and
Sure.
and Snickers and all that stuff. So we do some corporate video for them, and so this is kind of nerdy, but not too long ago, audio mixers have become this thing where like you can just have this kind of a brain that you plug all the microphones into, and then you operate it all with an iPad. Okay.
Yes.
So, so it packs small, and
Instead of a big
instead of a
table
big,
thing.
instead of a big mixing desk. I still prefer the big mixing desk because I like all the buttons and it's quicker and whatnot. And for this reason I'm about to say, but so anyways, it's communicating wirelessly with this iPad, right?
Uh-huh.
So we had done a couple of shows with this though, and everything worked fine. The device itself has broadcast Wi-Fi. So you just connect the iPad to that device's Wi-Fi hotspot, and then you can control it. So we've done 3 or 4 of these.
Wireless always makes me nervous.
Oh yeah, I hate wireless. So we've done a few of these in like conference rooms though.
Sure.
Okay, these shows where you have like a CEO and a couple of guys sitting at this conference room table, and you're filming it and you're broadcasting it out to all their employees across the world, kind of a thing. So
Live?
yeah, live.
Of course.
So, but then once a year we do one, for Mars that's in front of like all the associates that are in that building. So there might be like 400 or 500 people.
Yeah.
So you're broadcasting live, but there's also like
A studio audience.
yeah, there's also an audience there. I don't know if it's 400 or 500, hundreds of people, whatever. So there's a stage and there's PA and there's speakers and
Even
stuff.
more opportunity for stuff to go wrong.
Right. So, and we test this stuff thoroughly. So we're there the day before setting everything up, and we do run throughs. Everything's working fine. We have no reason to believe this thing's not going to work. And like I said, it was like the 4th show we'd done with it. And then hundreds of people walk in, and the wireless connection between the two devices just,
Because everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody's got Bluetooth on their watch.
right.
And
So now,
everything else.
it becomes overrun, and it was this is kind of nerdy, but it was 2.4 gigahertz instead of 5. So it got overrun with signal, and the mixer
It went bananas.
it just quit working. And we're like
About 1 minute before.
1 minute before the show.
Of course.
And
you didn't have a manual wired one to back it up.
we did. I mean,
But not in a minute's time.
yeah. I mean, we had a backup. But it would have taken unplugging everything, and I was going there in my head like, okay, how much time do I need to get our traditional mixer and plug everything up to it and get it working? I was starting to process that in my head, and I had forgotten that you can actually plug a laptop directly into the mixer, but you have to download the software for it. And none of us had ever really used it. It was just kind of this idea in the back of our head. Well, if we ever need to, we can get an Ethernet cable and plug the two things in together. So we had to look at the CEO of Mars North America and say, "We're going to be a minute. Just give us 1 minute. Yeah, just 1 minute,
Hold
please."
that thought.
And 'cause she was getting ready to walk up on stage and start the meeting, and just give us 1 minute. And so Josh grabbed his laptop and turned his phone into a hotspot, so he could download this.
So you hadn't even downloaded the software yet?
No. So we download the software. We get it open and working. We plug it in. Get everything. It's up there. I'm looking at this software for the first time. And I'm getting ready to run a show with it. And
I'm clicking agree.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, at the end of the day, it was we went like 1 minute late, and the CEO didn't even really fully understand what had happened.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't.
Because you're pros.
Yeah, she didn't care. We all kept a straight face. Had our poker face on, and it all worked out. But I mean, for that 2 or 3 minutes
It was
of like
extremely stressful.
sheer terror of we're gonna.
Nobody knew until today.
No one knew until today.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. I mean, I've told that story. I've never told it on the internet, but.
Hey, but it worked out.
It worked out.
That's what you get with.
That's what you get with a pro. Is like there's multiple backup plans.
Yeah.
You know, and
backup to the backup.
Yeah, there are always backups to the backups to the backups. You always have to be wheels turning in your head. Like if this doesn't work, I'm going to go to this. If that doesn't work, I'm going to go to this.
Yeah.
So you always, but there's like this moment where like the bottom drops out from under you, and you're like, oh my gosh, how's this going to work out?
But I mean, that's anything. That happens in real estate transactions. That happens.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's, again, it comes down to who do you have operating for you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, you want people that have had those moments before. You know, when we hire people, I don't care about what they've, like their accomplishments. I want to hear, tell me the time when it all was melting before your eyes. And
do you fold and start crying?
Yeah, like have you folded and started crying?
Yeah.
If you have, what happened the next time it happened?
Yeah.
Did you focus? Did you bear down and get through it? You know, because the amount of things that we do, the amount of like opportunities we have to blow it, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very high, you know, and I mean, we have a lot of opportunities to blow it. So. I mean, even if we were operating at 99.9%, like that was our success rate. Nobody operates at 100%. You know,
Right.
Nobody does. Everybody makes mistakes. So, so that 0.1% of a mistake, you know, that might be several things a year.
Yeah.
You know, So how do you handle them? You know.
Yeah.
That's important. I think that's the most important thing. Is how do you handle the mistakes? You know,
it's the same thing in my industry as well. You know, we can have a transaction. I have 5 transactions in a row that are perfect and seamless, and inevitably the wheels will fall off of one.
Yeah.
You know, because there's multiple people involved, right? Or there's multiple, in your case, gear or people or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, how do you handle it? What do you do? You know, and do you freak out or do you drive the ship?
Yep.
So.
Absolutely. And you know, well, I don't know what I was going to say now, but we just, you know, closed the deal on this whole thing here. Speaking of real estate, you know, we bought the place from you, but we built our house. And I think I've told you this. I kind of wish I would have had a real estate agent for building a house. I didn't even know that was a thing people did.
Yeah.
You know, when you get a builder, I thought, well, you know, we just have a builder and we can. But in the end, I wish we would have had a real estate agent, even though we weren't like looking for a house. We just had the floor plan and we had a builder and we thought that's everything we need. Our builder was fantastic, but that relationship between like the buyer and the bank, that's a delicate thing. Builders don't really.
Y'all ran into a codes thing, and and I remember Tasha, your wife, calling, and I mean she was beside herself.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, try this, and this. And I guess it
worked.
It
worked.
But you know, and nobody with the government agency you were dealing with, nobody was going to tell you that, even though they could have, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you know, what we found out in this process is you don't know what you don't know, and they don't. And they're kind of in the same boat. I mean, what we were doing out here was kind of different. I mean, it's not stuff they deal with every day. So. You know, maybe this exact circumstance only happens like once a year. Who knows? And so they don't really fully understand the best way to go about doing things. So I don't fault them for it. I mean, it was just kind of a perfect storm of problems that you helped us get through.
Yeah,
which I'm
said,
eternally.
try this. See if this works. And I don't know if you know this, but I actually told Tasha. I said, and if that doesn't work, just go in there and cry.
Yeah, I did know that, and I think that's kind of. She wasn't intending to go in and do that, but that did happen.
Yeah.
She did. Yeah,
it helps sometimes.
But yeah, she's fantastic.
She is.
And I couldn't. I should say that too. You know, I couldn't. Running a small business is pretty impossible without the support of an awesome wife and Tasha and my son Boston.
You got a good family, dude.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Well, man, we are probably past our normal 30 minutes is what we shoot for. How far past are we, Josh?
39.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll get yelled at by Taylor. It'll be okay.
Okay.
So, but this has been good.
Yeah.
I appreciate you and all that you do, and this is legit, man. So if you need anything video related, if you need any kind of stories recorded, right, or documented, this is your guy. So, or these are your guys plus all the rest of your guys. How many guys do you have?
We have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 people that are working for us a lot, including me and Josh. And then we have like 15 freelancers that we
call in
all the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. So Brian Smith with Cinematicfocus. Josh, I never did catch your last name. Eldred with Cinematicfocus. And I'm Jonathan Harmon with the J Harmon Home Team. If you need anything real estate related, call me. If you need stories told, call these guys. Have a great day.